have a child with a husband or a partner and you're madly in love and then that person dumps you, you are going to feel angered, embittered, alone, financially in a difficult situation, so you will feel powerless. If you choose to go the route that Cheryl said she will go, it's only about 1,000 women a year. They're usually older, they're wealthier, they've got good family connections, good work, and they're in a much stronger position than a woman mourning the end of her relationship.
Why do you think so many people, and we've got loads of messages from people saying they think it's wrong, it's morally wrong and it's unfair on the child. Why do you think people get so hot under the collar about this?
Well, that's a very Western point of view. There's a view that children are made from love, which is a very romantic view. Children are often sticking plasters for relationships, economic, religious, for all sorts of reasons. In an ideal world, there'll be a mum and a dad and what have you, but the world isn't like that in reality anymore, unless you've got a lot of money. You know, my mum had 4 kids under 4, worked her guts out. So although she loved us, we didn't see a lot of her.
If Cheryl were here now, she was sitting on the other side of the desk.
Trisha? That's the thing.
Sorry?
She didn't choose that, did she?
No,
Well, initially she did. Initially she did, because initially she had me out of wedlock. So she was, and she chose to keep her baby, and then she got into a relationship and had my half-sisters. So that's not to say that someone like Cheryl won't come into a relationship
At some
further down
point.
at some point.
So what do you think then, Lottie?
If Cheryl were here now, and you were looking her in the eye, how would you tell her that she was wrong, what she was doing was practically and morally wrong?
Well, Cheryl, love, you are so young. You've got all the time in the world to meet another guy, but ultimately, you can't buy children. You can't. It's very selfish to deprive a child from the outset of a father. Now, it's very different to splitting up from a person. I'm a single mum too.
Right.
You start off with the best of intentions, but to start off with the, you know, the exact definition of depriving a child of 2 parents...
But if the end result's the same, if the end result's the same...
What about...
The end result is not the same, because my children have a great relationship with their father,
But what about the guys?
of me.
But what about the guys who do this? For instance, Sir Mick Jagger...
Well, they just want to make money, don't they?
No, well, hang on. Sir Mick Jagger, I'm sure, loved every woman he was with at the time.
Well, I don't think that he... Come
Well,
on,
I'm not
Mick
going...
Jagger, how many people did he... enjoy?
He might have loved them at the time, though he made those children in love at the moment.
But he's still a good father, isn't he? Potentially, you know, I don't know whether he's a good...
Why can't Cheryl... If you're a single mum...
She's not going to have a father, you know, for that child.
might.
I have a friend who's a product of a sperm donor, and he's absolutely miserable. He's so upset that he won't even have children.
But that's
he went looking for his dad.
I look for my dad. I don't know who my dad is.
I don't know my dad either. I do know where he is, and he doesn't want to know. And the impact of that on me and the choices I've made with relationships has been devastating.
But just a minute, what about...
I think it's so wrong.
You're lucky that your partner does want to have a relationship with a child. It's not always that way.
I know.
What do you mean, well?
Of course, he's a great father, but, you know, when you split up with someone, you know, you don't like to see them again. But, you know, as a mother, you've got to make that work for your children, don't you?
Isn't it? If you, I mean, you know,
It's
Cheryl
not
has
about
had
me, though, is
relationships that one assumes she's been hurt by. She's now on her own and says she's happy.
Yeah.
She loves being a mother. Is she not, you could argue, taking away that potential hurt of having a disappointing relationship and dealing with the complications
Yes, but what
that
we're
you've
still
talked about?
hearing is me.
Well, she might have males in her...
I want. You can't just chuck money and have a child.
But hang on just a minute. She might have male role models in her dad.
That's not the same. Male role models are transient. They come and go.
So are some dads.
Yeah, but
I mean,
there's
Trisha, that point of...
that she's definitely ruling out.
So you think, however powerful the urge in any woman of childbearing age is to have a child, even though there's no relationship on the horizon or they've had enough of relationships because they've all gone bad, and it's happened in her case, however powerful and visceral that urge is, it should be denied, unless they can have a child with a man who's going to stick around.
I'm saying it's selfish. I'm not here to tell people what to do. I think it's selfish to, from the outset, deny a child of a parent.
Can I ask you what you think about all the... Because we're only talking about 1,000 women. Can I ask you what you think about military families when you know your husband's going to be deployed and...
That's not the same thing at all.
Just a minute. You might not see your dad for years and years and years and years. And yet, so is that selfish? We don't all have the ideal situation.
Skype, you've got text. We're living in a tech world. You can still have a relationship with your father if he's deployed or in prison or anywhere like that. You know, the whole point is the bond that between a father and a daughter is so important for a woman.
And what if it doesn't happen?
You should encourage it. Well, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, but you should at least encourage it.
Well, just let me tell you what some of the viewers have said. And actually, on the whole, they're on your side here, Trish. Claire, on email, says, I'm a single mother, 32. My little girl's thriving as long as she's loved and cared for by those who are in her life. What difference does it make? I say go for it, Cheryl. Michael on Twitter says, well, she's got enough money to palm the kid off on nannies, hasn't she? And Repton on Twitter says, lots of children from single-parent families grow up fine.
Absolutely.
Some people don't get to choose solo parenting, and it just happens to them.
Although Michael says, the problem is people don't realise how hard it is alone. Cheryl at least has enough money to palm the child off, as he
I don't
puts
think
it,
Cheryl would do that, though. She looks like a fantastic mother.
Yeah.
And I do understand where she's coming from, but ultimately, you know, as a woman who hasn't got a father, who doesn't want to know, the pain of that is real, and to inflict that on a child
OK, we're going to call it
on purpose
quits there.